Welcome to the Brizy Academy, and this is Getting Started with Brizy WordPress. I'm JP, and in this course we're going to create a landing page or a one-page website for your local gym. What you will need to do this course is, of course, a computer and an internet connection, but then you will also need free tools. Yes, everything is going to be free in this introduction tutorial on Brizy WordPress. First one is WordPress, then we're going to use a theme, and there are many great themes out there. We'll show you which one we're going to choose, and you can choose your own. And then of course you will need Brizy. And then we're going to go from this to this. Before we get into that, just note that this is not a WordPress tutorial per se, so I'm not going to show you how to set up WordPress. If you have a host that can do that for you, or if you're going to do that on a local server, that is up to you. Practice along, and if you want to do that for free, go ahead and look for those local servers in which you can set it up on your computer and practice along for free. Now, I said this is where we're going to start, and this is where we're going to end off. We're going to start with a pre-made template within Brizy, comes for free. And then going through 4 steps, we're going to change the colors, then the typography, then the text, and then the images. But that's not all. We're going to add a few more features to our website. First of all, we're going to add an image gallery. After that, we will be adding a block slider testimonial, a great feature that is in both the free and pro versions of Brizy. And finally, we're going to build from scratch so that you can learn also how to work with all the elements within Brizy, and that will be a contact form. This will give you a very strong foundation as to how to work with Brizy and get your website creation process on the go. A quick note, I kept saying we're going to use the free version, and yes, there is a pro version. To learn more about that, go to brizy.io. During this course, I will mention and highlight quite a number of pro features, but everything you're going to see what we'll be doing in this course is going to be with Brizy Free. To learn more about other features in Brizy and tutorials on Brizy Pro, hop over to YouTube, subscribe to our channel, and regularly go and visit us at brizy.io and follow the blog along for the latest news. Buckle up and let's start our journey. Something great to look forward to. In this tutorial, we are going to set up our WordPress so that we can begin the installation of Brizy and build out our site. First thing you'll have to do is, of course, log in. I've already done that, and that brings me into my vanilla installation of WordPress. Now, I'm doing this on a host, and in many cases, when you're installing WordPress with a one-click installation from hosts, you will get some plugins pre-installed with it. Just a reminder, this isn't a WordPress tutorial, so I won't go into details as to what I'm doing here. We're just cleaning up things and getting it ready so that we can move forward. I have 3 P's that I start with, and those are the posts, pages, and plugins. I just clean them out. It's a personal preference. Some people leave it there. Many people clean it out. It's up to you. In the navigation sidebar on the left, I'll go to posts, click on that, and we get the traditional hello world. I'll trash that. And after that, I'll also go to my trash and empty the trash. Next up, pages. You've got your privacy policy there, which often is a good idea, but I'm going to move all of this to trash, apply that, and again, go to the trash and empty the trash. And then plugins. And this is very standard that you get the Akismet anti-spam from many hosts. They will install it. It's a very useful plugin, but because I'm not going to be using it for this tutorial, I'll just remove all of this so we can have this nice clean. And delete is the one, and we click on apply. So I've bulk selected them, put delete, clicked apply, and then it's going to really ask me if I want to do that, and I'll say okay, and now that is clean. After my 3 P's, I go to the S, which is settings. First here, let's give our site a title, and I will call it our local gym. And then the tagline for our site is get healthy in your neighborhood. And then from here, I'll go to site language, which I will put on English South Africa, which is a very small change and difference to English UK. You'll set it here. English US usually works perfectly. And then my time zone is UTC +2. I like to update this so whenever you make posts and you post things online and there's a timestamp with it, then you're already on the correct time zone. And the rest here, I'll leave it as is, and then I'll say Save Changes. And then I have one last P, which is permalinks. We go to permalinks, and by default, you'll often get the permalink structure to be on plain or day and name. When you install or you change your theme, oftentimes the theme that you are installing or whichever starter site you are importing will put it for you on this one, post name. I go for post name and then Save Changes. Now that we've cleaned everything, the last thing I'm going to do is put in a theme that I know will work very well with the free version of Brizy. Go to Appearance and Themes, and you can go check out at Brizy.io for a number of themes and partners that work with Brizy very well. There are so many themes, good themes, and I'll say Add New. And the one that I'll install for this tutorial, which we're basically not going to use. Everything we're going to do here is going to be done within the Brizy free builder. But I just like to switch out the vanilla one from WordPress to the one that I prefer. Today we are using Blocksy. Click on Install, Activate, and then we are good to go. Lovely. So Blocksy is installed here, and you will see it appear under Appearance. A great theme. If you want to know more about Blocksy, you can go check them out at creativethemes.com and learn all about this free theme as well as their pro theme that comes power punch with so many features. And now we are ready to go to the next stage, which is to install Brizy. In this short video, we are going to install Brizy, the free version of it from the WordPress repository. In the navigation sidebar on the left, go to Plugins, and you can just select Plugins, and this will show you that currently we have no plugins installed. Note at the top though, it does say Install Blocksy Companion. This is great if you want to have access to Blocksy's starter sites and other features, and when you do use Blocksy Pro, you will definitely install this. We're not going to need it for this tutorial. I'll just select the closeout and then go to Plugins, Add New, and we search here for Brizy. And there can only be one, Brizy Page Builder. Click on Install Now, Activate, and as simple as that. You have a little pop-up here at the top that says, can you give us some love? Of course, once you've used it, you can give a nice little review there. In my case, I have already done that, or you can just say close it out. You'll note there that within the plugin, we have the option to go pro. You can visit Brizy at brizy.io or just select Go Pro and it will open a new tab in your browser and take you to Brizy. Here, go through all the options, have a look at what it costs if you want to upgrade to the Pro features. In this course, I'm not going to go too much into what Brizy Pro can offer. We will touch on it here and there and have a look at the features that come with the Pro. For me, Pro is an absolute yes because I love the pop-up builder that comes with it. And you can take full control over how you build your theme, your site, WooCommerce, if you want to have an online e-commerce store. And then you also have things like membership functionality. So many features to go Pro. But again, if your needs can be met by the free version that we're going to cover in this video, try it out first in the free version. And then from there, you can have a look at what Pro can do for you. Go back to WordPress and let's see what has happened in our navigation sidebar here on the left. You will see that Brizy appears here. I selected, we have settings, stories, templates, leads, tools, and starter template. And then of course the option to go Pro. In the free version, you're going to do very little. The only thing that you may want to do if you want to upload any SVG, you're going to activate it over here. And if you want to put it in a maintenance mode while you are designing it, you have the option to put it on a coming soon or maintenance. And then even that page that you are going to display as your maintenance page can be done within the Brizy Builder. We've not learned much about Brizy yet, so we're not going to do this. But remember, your Brizy settings are over here. Now that we've installed Brizy, we have WordPress ready, we have our theme ready, we have Brizy ready. So let's go ahead in the next tutorial, create our page, look at the canvas, and let the fireworks begin. In this video, we are going to create a page, set it as a home page, have a quick look at the canvas and how you exit from Brizy back into WordPress. As I mentioned in our first video, we are creating a landing page or a /one-page website. So we only need one page. And because of that, it's very simple. We create one page and I'm going to call it my home page. Let's select pages here in the navigation sidebar on the left. And we expect to see nothing because we deleted it at the beginning, and go to add new. This here is where we go into the WordPress page editor, the block editor. Not going to go through this. I'll close that out. And depending on which theme you use will dictate how this area is going to look. So add title, I'll just call it home. We go ahead and publish, and then we have this double check for another publish. And now our page is live. In the toolbar here at the top, this is where the blue powerful button of Brizy is. Edit with Brizy, and this takes us into the builder. So we select that, edit with Brizy, and we have the spinning wheels, opens up the builder for us, and in no time, we are right inside the builder. And this is the builder canvas. In the next video, we will look at all the areas on the canvas and also the block manager. But just a quick reference this. Of course, you have this big notice here in the middle, start building your page, and that plus clearly tells you we start here. Then you have a sidebar here on the left, and you have options toolbar here on the bottom right. Let's go to the sidebar on the left, and in the bottom, hover over the icon where you see it says more, then select it, and we select here, go to dashboard. This is how we're going to exit from the builder back into WordPress, and it will take us back to this page, which is the home page inside the WordPress editor. From here, I want to go back to WordPress. So I'll select the W up here. And now that we're back in our administration area, what I need to do is make sure that this page that we've just created is going to display as my landing page when people type in my home address. To do that, we go to settings, go to reading, and then your home page displays. We're going to select a static page. And then next to home page, we select this one I've just created called home. Save your changes, very important, very easy to miss that. Let's go back to pages. And instead of now clicking again on the page, clicking again, edit with Brizy, we can just go to this quick link over here, edit with Brizy, and this will take us directly into the builder. Now we've set our home page, and this page that we're going to be built is going to be that home page. A final point to take note of here, go to the sidebar on the left where you see this little paper icon, which is a page icon. Select it, and at the top you will see page template. Currently, everything you're going to design with the Brizy template is going to be a clean slate. There's nothing here on this page that comes from the theme. If you want to work with a theme template, you want to bring in Blocksy or Astra or Neve or whichever theme you are using and use their header and footer, then you select here from the drop-down default. And the default is going to be that one that comes from the theme. It's going to reload the page. And now a few things have changed. You've got a header at the top that is coming from the theme, which is Blocksy. You've got a page title. That's also a setting within Blocksy that you can activate or deactivate. And you've got a footer here at the bottom where you see there's a copyright area. All of this now is coming from the theme. So what you've done is made Brizy a page builder within the theme. This is great if you're creating multiple pages, you're doing blogging within WordPress, or you're doing a WooCommerce and you're using the free version. When you do go pro, you still have this option, but in the pro version, you can build out this header, the footer, and the WooCommerce all with the Pro Builder features for WooCommerce and theme builders. So let's go back. We're going to be working with the Brizy template. Go to the page in the sidebar on the left, on the page template, and select Brizy template, and it will reload the page for us, giving us this clean canvas. In the next video, we're going to tour around this and see what is where and what is what. If you're anything like me, you are aching to start building, but I think before we really get into all of that, We're going to look in this video at the canvas and what is where, the sidebars, the navigation toolbars, and so that you kind of have an idea of what is where and what you can find. Now, when we open this page, you're going to see it's very empty, nothing here. And this is where we will be building our web page. You have this queue here, we'll start building your page. And what I want to do is already select this, and we get this block manager or block library that opens up, giving you all of these pre-made blocks, which are great starter kits for you to kickstart your building experience with Brizy. So that if you're lost with a little bit of creativity boost, or you just want to see what Brizy can do, then this is a great place to start. We'll dive deeper into this in the next video, as well as come back to it later within the course. But this is where you're going to have these blocks that are created. They are ready for you to use. And just note that some of them do have the Pro label and that they are locked. Naturally, that means if you want to have access to them, you have to go Pro. You also have layouts. You see here in the top, if I select that, it's going to give you full layouts, full pages, even sites, many multiple pages. And we'll be making use of this very, very soon. Let's go back to blocks. And we have an option here to create our own, which means we'll be building from scratch or then selecting any of these pre-made ones. For now, I just want to select any of these pre-made ones. Also note that you do have categories here on the left. You can filter through it. You also have the option to go through a dark version. I'll put it back on light, and let's say we select hero, and then we select this one that was anyway at the top. And this drops in this block, this pre-made block for us onto the page, ready for us to just swap out the content and update it the way we want our site to look. So that is how you start building out your page, by creating it from scratch, or you use pre-made blocks, switching out the content, and you build up these blocks one by one, layer them on top of each other to create your full page. So your canvas area, your block manager, check. Next is the sidebar on the left. At the very top, there's a plus. And this is where we're going to get all the elements that you can use to build out your page. You have text elements, images, which are the two most important elements on the page. You see already here we have text, there we have an image, buttons, and many more. Again, the pink button or the pink little dot denotes that these are pro features and that they are locked. Below that, we have a reorder block section. We'll be looking at that shortly. And then down here is global styling, very important area. We have responsive view, which can switch between tablet and mobile, crucial feature for building out any site. And you've already met the page area where you can set the view for the theme or for Brizy template and control over who can view it, as well as adding a featured image here. The last button here is the one that we used previously, how to exit back to WordPress. And you have a few here: upgrade to Pro, about, Brizy, support, shortcuts, and then plugin settings as well. Moving over to the right, here is where we have the page options toolbar. You see we have update, which means save. And next to that, we have a menu for clear layout, save layout, or put it in draft mode. Here is a preview option. And then we have undo, redo. And this little button is all about showing hidden elements when you start making many of your feature responsive. If I click on this image here, you will see that I have a toolbar that appears here, and this toolbar will change depending on which element you've chosen. So it's a contextual toolbar giving you the options for that specific element. In this case, it's an image. If I click here on this text, you will see I have a longer options toolbar because this time I have more options for the text. In all of these toolbars, you will see, click back here on the image, that we have this little settings icon. If I select that, I have styling and effects, and by selecting either of these two, a sidebar on the right will open. So many of these features are a little bit hidden away because they are not always needed. But once you do go into things like padding and margins, and you want or Z indexes and a few other things like scroll and animation effects, you're going to find them here in this sidebar on the right. You can dock this sidebar as well by clicking here on the lock or unlocked. Now it will remain there regardless of whether I have selected an element or not. And you can even shift it to the left by selecting this button or on the right. That's your preference. Many times when you are building, some of the features will be under this sidebar and it will overlay the content and you won't be able to see it very nicely. In that case, this is a good idea where you will be switching the sidebar. Take note of that. I'm going to put it on the right and I'm going to unlock it so that I have a little bit more space to work with. Simply click outside to deselect any of these elements and that sidebar is also gone. And that is where you're going to be accessing everything that you need to build out this site. Let's get our page nice and clean again. And to do that, I go to the options toolbar here at the bottom for the page, select it, and then you see I have the option here for clear layout. And I get an empty page again. In our next video, we'll look at a pre-made layout, the one that we will be using to design our gym, our local gym site. In the previous lesson, we had worked with a pre-made blog. In this video, we are going to work with an entire pre-made page. And we're going to use that page as our starting block for our final product. Click again here on Start Building Your Page. And from the block manager, instead of looking at blocks, we go to layouts. Again, here on the left, you see there is a category with so many layouts that you can choose from. But do note that most of these layouts, 90% plus, are pro. So if you have clients or you have many websites that you want to make and you want to use these as inspiration, this will be a good incentive to go pro. To use a free one, select free here under categories and you see you have an option here for a few free versions that we're going to be using. The one that we will work with is this one called Webno. Select it and you can hover over it here on this presentation on the left and hover again at the top. Gives you a very good idea of what this page is all about. And this is a single page, good landing page. And we're going to use it. We're going to make it look all great and groovy. What I want you to do is just click here on import this layout. Before we do that, note though that we've got this colors, you know, the dark color, the pink, and that's basically our color theme. Import this layout. Let's go ahead and click it and it's going to bring in this page for us. But we're going to observe it doesn't look like it did when we saw it in the block manager. Things are very different here. So we still have this pink here, but you see here we have purple. It's not that dark anymore. There's also a change in the fonts. It looks very different. Look here again, this is purple, which wasn't purple in the block manager. Now the reason this has happened is because of global styling. To the sidebar on the left, click on the paintbrush and you will see our global styling opens and we have a current style called overpass. This is the default style when you create anything new within Brizy. And it gives us these colors. And you can see this purple that responds to this purple over here. Same here, everywhere we see this purple. And this dark color that you see here as an overlay for this here image is the one on the left. Down here, we have paragraphs, subtitles, heading ones, and these are style presets. And if I select that, you will see it is set to overpass. Probably that's why the current style is called overpass, because it's using this font as its base font for giving these fonts their look. But I want to start with that one that I saw within the block manager. And I showed you this way so that you can understand that if you just bring it in, it's going to draw the styling from here. And just to show you what happens if I go to the drop down and I select another style here like magazine, this is also going to change. The fonts change and the color changes. And you can make your own custom changes here, which we will be doing in the next video. But at this moment, just understand what global styling does to the look of your page. Go to the bottom right corner where the options toolbar is for the page and select again clear layout. Then start building your page. We go again to layouts, free. And the best way to learn something really, really well is to practice it over and over again. Again, we go to Webno, select on it. And now before you click import this layout, select right next to it, replace global styling. So the styling that you're seeing here for this layout will now also be imported into the builder and you can work with it the way that you saw it here within the manager. Perfecto. So you see we have now this blue purplish kind of overlay for this. Now we have this pink. you can see the fonts are completely different. And now we have again pink here for the rest of the page as well. This is the base on which we're going to start with. And to reference it back to the global styling, sidebar on the left, styling, you will see it now says current style, Webno. And every time you bring in a page and you bring its global styling with it, you select and go all the way to the bottom of this list, it will appear here. So just know that's where it's going to appear. Click on paragraph. Instead of overpass, it's set to Montserrat. So you can see the typography has also changed. Let's have a look at all the components that we will be working with. The first component is a block. And in our previous lessons, I brought in a pre-made block. And blocks are these, well, sections and blocks. That's great for structuring your page. Every time you have a new concept, whether it's a testimonial, contact area, or a team focus, you put those in blocks and it helps to structure the page much better. Hovering over a block, you will see the settings in the top right-hand corner, and selecting that will give you all the settings for the block that you can work with. Let's do that for another one over here again. And again for this one as well. And this is the first component, which is what you will need whenever you create anything new on the page, is a block. Inside the block comes the very important elements. And essentially there are two kinds of elements. Hover over any of the content and you will see you have bounding boxes pop up. But before we talk about this text, look at the blue bounding box that is bordering all of these texts and this button. This indicates a column, and you can see if I go to the right, we actually have two columns. That little chevron that's pointing upwards, select that. Again, you see an options toolbar appear for that. For the elements, simply click on any element you see, like this text element. Over here is a video element. Here again is an image element. Here is a button. And every time you click on it, it gives you the context toolbar that you're going to work with. Very easy to interact with that. This page has quite a number of elements. And remember, these elements come from the elements panel here on the left. Go to the top, click on the plus, and you will see this text element we got from this text, and this image element, button elements. We have icons, spacer, maps, and so many others that we can build this page with. Here we have a countdown element selected. You will see again the context toolbar changes. These are icons. And then essentially the rest of the page repeats most of that. The essential elements all appear here grouped under essential. And you're going to build 95% of any page and every site you are making with these essential ones. The others give you great additional features, but for most cases, that's why they are called essentials. You'll be building your page with these essentials. For the structure, like the columns, you have two options. You have a column option and a row option. For this tutorial, we're going to be working with columns, but we'll have a quick look at row in a later video as well. Now that we've brought in this pre-made template, we do need to make a lot of changes to it. We want to change colors, we want to change typography, of course, switch out the text, switch out the images. But before we do that, let's do one of the most important features whenever you are creating something, and that is to save it. To save your page, go to the options toolbar in the bottom right-hand corner and select update. Update is save. If it doesn't say update, then you go to this option and you will have publish page instead of draft, and you will select that because update means save. A very important shortcut key here is Control S on Windows, Command S on the Mac, and I'm going to be using Control S all the time. Many times I'm not even going to say save the page. It's such an automated response for me that almost every time I do something on the page, I just hit Control S. When there are no changes on the page, you will see it is grayed out like this. If you do make any changes, it will highlight again, indicating to you that you've made changes. One more thing I want to show you, if we go to the sidebar on the left, we had this reorder blocks feature. Select it. And now you will see that we have all the blocks that have been created on this page represented here with these little thumbnails. So a very nice visual display as to how the page is broken down into the various blocks. And you can also move them around here if you wanted to, which we'll do later. And if any of these blocks are not useful for what you want to achieve with your design, you can also go ahead and delete them from here. For us, we are very happy with what we've got here, but now we've got to start making changes to our site to truly make it ours. The first of these changes that we'll be making in the next video is going to be our color, our themes, as well as our typography. In this video and the next two, we're going to be looking at the changes you have to make whenever you're using a pre-made layout or block. But I also just want to tell you that it's very important you know how to build a block from scratch. And in later lessons, we're going to bring in clean blocks, build them up with columns and elements so that you exactly know how to do that yourself. Two important things that you need to change out. In this video, we're going to talk about styling. And in the next one, we're going to talk about content. When we mean styling, we mean two things. We mean colors and we mean text. This is what gives your website a feeling, a style. And this can all be done under global styling. Traditionally, you would apply a color on a color basis, put pink here, put black there, etc. You see, this site or this page rather has pink and it has this blue that is applied all over. Instead of applying it on a one-by-one basis, you assign it to a global color, which is accessed here in the sidebar on the left under styling, and these are the 8 patches you get for global colors. And you can change them out any way you want to with the colors you want to. Let's start here with the pink so you can see how it works. Select the pink and we have our color manager here. 3 parts here. We have an area here which we can select colors from. We have a hue slider that's going to change the color. And then we have an area where you can put in a hex code, which is the name of the color that you want to use. If I grab this selector and I drag it around, notice here the button, let me scroll down, how the button color change. But note that this pink doesn't change, and there's a reason that pink is not changing. Put it there on the bright pink again. If I grab the use slider, again, see how it updates in real time. And this is occurring across the site. So if I leave that very shocking green there, you will see that this has also updated to the same green. Very easily make one change across your site on all your pages. Don't need to go in individually and change it out. Now, nowadays, this is kind of standard in every kind of builder out there. But just a few years ago, you had to do this on a manual basis. So it's something that we can still wax lyrical about. But just note, this is what we mean by a global color or for the global styling. What I'll do is, let's say I put it here on yellow, and I'm going to change the yellow later, but for now I'm going to grab this yellow that I want to use here. And now you will know that the yellow has changed everywhere else. But this block here hasn't changed. And it started off also with pink. Why hasn't it changed? And the reason for that is that during the design, it wasn't put on this swatch. It maybe was put on a different pink, or it was put in manually, and then it is not global. We're going to make it global now. Go to the settings of this block by selecting the settings icon, and then from the options toolbar, third from the left, you will see we have colors. Select it, and all we need to do now is click here on this yellow. You see this yellow appears here, the same 8 colors that appears in the styling over here. And this is where these global colors are repeated. The next color we're going to switch out is this dark blue over here. You can see here at the top, this dark blue is applied as an overlay, and it also appears a few times as heading colors as well as over here, and then here at the bottom as well. So let's leave it on this one. From the global styling, select the dark blue. And here I'm just going to haphazardly grab the selector and drag it to more black, down, and make it nice and dark. So I want that bright yellow, dark black, and I can actually put it on full black. And then the hex code will be 00000. Let's just reduce it a little bit over there. There we go. I scroll down, you can see it's updated here to that same color. And as I go here to the top, same as happened here. It's now updated. The problem that we run into though is that this text that is on the yellow does not pop out. We need contrast. And for yellow, we need a dark color to contrast it. So we want to use this one, the very same one that we've used here for the background for these texts. So what I'll do is I'll select this element, which is a button. Then I'll click on the colors. I'll go to the text. And now I just simply go ahead and put them on this same swatch. If later, then, if I want to make changes across board, it will also reflect across board. Let's go to this one, select it. Same thing, click on it, put it on the swatch. And you see how easily you can switch out all of these colors. Let's see if there's anywhere else we need to do that. We will have something that's dark on dark. And that's okay. I'm not too fond of this yellow on the white. And what we can do here is select this yellow, and I'm going to put it on this gray instead. That's a better solution than leaving it like so. Let's leave these icons for now. We can change them later. But what we've done now is that we've changed out the colors. Now you may ask me, but there are 8 swatches. You don't have to use them all. In this case, we're only using these 2. You're probably using the white here on the right and this gray. And if you want to use any other color during your design that's not part of these, you can either come and switch it out here, or you can apply it on a custom basis. The next part is the text. So we looked at it previously. If I select this one, which is all the paragraph text, then it is set to Montserrat. It has a size of 18. The weight is medium. Line height is 1.9. And my letter spacing is 0. Truth be told, I like the font scheme for this. And I want to keep it 100% the way I brought it in. I think it works perfectly for what I had in mind. But for our presentation purposes here, so that you can understand how it works, I want to show you what happens when we start changing these out. So you can do it if you want to change out the font. Before we do that, let's go to this one, Meet the Host, select it, and then from the context toolbar at the top, click on the T for typography all the way to the left. Here you will see it says typography and it's set to a style heading 2. Drop down gives you the option for custom, paragraph, subtitle. And the thing you'll note is that all of these, paragraph, subtitle, above title, heading 1 to heading 6, and button, can be found here under global styling. And that's where these presets are made, all the way here from the top to the bottom. Now this one is set to heading 2. Let's go to the global styling and look for the one that's heading 2. Select it. And all I'm going to do is just change the font, and you will immediately see how this font will update. So if I select something wacky, let's see if there's like this new wave. Look at that. It updates there, and look, it updated here as well. So everywhere we had applied this style to any of our headings, it will quickly replace that font with the new one we've selected. Same principle applies here. Instead of having to go each and every time to every heading of your blocks and change them out manually, you give them this preset feature. And later on, if you want to make changes, you simply come here to the global styling and voila, you update it. Let's change Pelican, see how quickly that changes. Let's go back to that Meet the Host. And let's try one more here, Comforta. One more, Caution script, so you can see how it works. But I told you I really like it on Montserrat, so I'm going to leave it on Montserrat. I like the sizes, I like the weight, but you can make changes here if you think it looks better for your site. This is one of the great things about our professionally designed pre-made layouts, is that it's made to be modern and professional. So there's actually very little tweaking to do, but at the same time, very important to know where you can make these changes in the event where you want to make them. We'll work with text, we'll work with all of these when we build them up from scratch, but this is where the global styling resides, and this is what global styling can do for you. Now we've changed the styling. In the next lesson, we're going to change the content, which is images and text. We've brought in our pre-made site, and we have changed our colors in the global styling. We've also played around with the text. I showed you how you can also change the font, but I kept it at Montserrat. But now comes the most important part, and that is that you need to bring in your own images and that you need to bring in your own text. So What do we currently have? I chose this site, and I think this is kind of like a digital business live webinar site. It has this block here at the top, which is the hero section. Then it has a countdown to something. It has features here with icons, and then maybe a little blurb about what it's all about. Here, it's almost a testimonial or something from the owner. Then they have a little bit of a social branding area here, bragging rights or social proof, people who work with them. And then meet the host, the main person, where you can reserve the spot. This is collecting leads. And then at the bottom, we have basically a footer with social media links here. But we're going to take all of this and turn it into this local gym website that we are creating for our neighborhood-friendly local gym. Let's start with the text first. And sometimes it's not easy like this where I'm going to work linear from the top to the bottom. Many times it's a little bit of a hopscotch approach. You jump here, you jump there. And I'm not going to change out all the text, but I want you to have a good idea of how the text element, wherever you see text, that is the text element, how that text element works. So let's start here with the hero section at the top. Interact with any element by simply clicking on it. And we have the context toolbar that appears here. But to change out the text, we don't even touch this. We're just going to work directly here. You can select like so. You can triple click to select everything, or you can just put your cursor there at the beginning, which is what I often do. And I'll type in something there and I'll delete the rest. Come get fit at your local gym. And then I'll delete the rest and see how quickly that is updating. The rest I'm going to leave here. I'm not going to worry too much about the text, but it's exactly the same principle. Click on it to interact with it, select it all, or just type in it. Perfect. So we can go down here. Let's say this is the area where we want to do a countdown. We are presenting free classes once a week. So we're going to have a countdown here. Come join the next free open class. And then we will update that very soon in the next lesson. We'll have some features here, and I'll do that also separately when we work with that. Let's select all of that, the standout, whatever that means. And then you can, again, select here, put in your own quote, webinar sponsors, companies we work with. You can change that out, meet the host, and this is going to be our lead coach. Coach, that's right, not couch. And then reserve your spot. Oh, that one we can keep just is. And that's it. You go ahead, you make these changes with the text, make sure it makes sense, naturally, of course, or use our good friend ChatGPT nowadays to help you with this. And there we've gone ahead and we've changed out the text. Next is to change out images. And images actually in a way also comes close to what styling is all about. This is also going to give your website its feel together with the color scheme and the fonts. And for the images, I'm going to start at the very, very top where you see the logo. You see now that pink was where the color for the original one came from. Doesn't work on our site and we want to bring in our own logo. To interact with any image, like anything else within the Brizy Builder, simply click on it and you have a context toolbar that appears. Within this toolbar, we go all the way to the left, select it, and then here where it says image, we are going to bring in our own images. Currently, we cannot see that one, so we just click on the delete option, and now you see it disappears there, and we have an area where we can bring in new images. We are working in WordPress, so if you select this, it's going to open up the upload media, the WordPress media library. If we go to media library, we're going to see all these images that already have been imported with our demo, but we're going to bring in our own now. Let's go back to upload files. We could have stayed there, and I'll open up my Explorer in Windows. If you use Mac, you use your Finder, and these are all the images that I've already prepared and that I'm going to use. So instead of bringing them in one by one, I'm going to select them all here and click, hold and drag and drop them. And it will select the last one, which is my Favicon. I don't want that one, I want this one. So I'll select here the CrossFit Fitness logo. Go ahead and select. And it appears nicely there, but because we've constrained it in the original one, you see it cuts off at the top and the bottom. To fix this, I'm going to click again on it, then go to the settings, and where you see height, you will see it says 45.4%. And we want it at Yes, 100%. So double click in there to select the value and type in 100%. And there you have your logo. I'm happy with the size of the logo, but guess what? If you click on it, you see those handles. If you want to make changes to it, you can grab the handles and drag it, and you can increase it. But like you see there, now we lose again the fit. So we have to go back here and make sure everything is on 100%. We choose the settings. If you want to increase the total size, you will see that we have two columns here. It's in the left column and the right column. To increase the area size in which this image can grow, you have to increase the column size. Go to the handle in the middle here where the blue line is, click, hold, and drag it to the right. And as I do that, you will see it scales with it. And that's how you're going to increase the size whenever an image is within a column. Let go of it. And now I want to undo all of this. You can go to the bottom here in the options for the page and click here on undo. But my valuable advice to you is to learn that shortcut key, Control Z, Command Z. And that will give us the state in which we were before we made those changes. Now that I've made this change, I realize that the yellow I've used does not match the yellow of my logo at all. And we're going to fix this now by using the color picker. So quickly get off the image replace, go back to the global styling in the sidebar and select the yellow. Now with the yellow selected, you see this little color picker, select that. Hover over the image, and I will use a darker one like that. Click. This yellow updates, and the yellow across the site updates. And this little bit of a darker yellow shade looks much better than the previous bright one that we had on the white background. That was pretty nifty. This image here is not an image. When you select it, you will see we have actually a video. We'll talk about that in the next lesson. But there's an image here in the background, and that's the block background. Go block settings. Second from the left where you see background, select it, and here you will see it's the area for the image. Delete it, click on upload, and I'm going to use my hero image, which is this one. Click select. And look how easily I've made this site now a gym site. Brilliant. Absolutely magnificent. You will note though that there's an overlay applied, and that is the color right next to it. So it's set to this swatch, but here on the right you have a transparency slider put to 85%. If you click, hold and drag, you can decrease the opacity, or you can take it all the way to the top if you want a full black, but I like it there at that 85%. This is a really good hero section. No other changes need to be made here. Let's scroll down, and we're going to leave the icons. We'll do that in the next lesson, but let's get to this section over here with this image. When I click on it, I don't see my context toolbar. And again, this is actually not an image or an image element. This is a background of a column. So you see the blue borders. So let's go to the settings of the column up here, select that. And then we go all the way to the left for background, and the image will populate here. Delete. Click on upload, choose the next one, which is this one, feature focus, and select that. And perfect. Scroll down. Where else do we have images? We have here our host. Select that. This is an image because we see the options toolbar with the image icon on the left. Select it. And this is our meet the host. Didn't I change it out to lead coach? I'll have to change that again. Maybe when I hit Control Z, I undid that as well. Lead coach is over here. Select the image and bring that in. And let me just change this text quickly. Lead coach. I'm pretty sure that is the lead coach. Yes. Okay. And let's go back to the image because it's not working well. Now, in a few updates in recent months, a new feature has been added to images, which helps us get circle shapes like this. But when this demo site was created, it was done with corners. So not to confuse you, but I want to show you quickly which is a better way to create this kind of circle image. Select the image and let's go to the image settings first. And note here that whenever you work with a custom image, you have this focal selector. As I drag it around, our dude stays in focus. but it's a little too big. And the reason is because there's a zoom applied to it of 166%. So I'm going to reduce it. I still actually like the zoom, but no, I prefer it at 100%. And now it looks much better the way we wanted it. With the image still selected, go to the settings, go to styling, and then the sidebar here on the right, you will note that we have corners at 300 pixels. These corners have been applied to the image element, and by applying it, you have created a circle. So if I grab the slider and I drag it all the way to left, then you will see we have a square again. The reason I would recommend you don't use this feature at the moment is that when we go into tablets and we go into mobile designs later, you often have to come again and again back to it and make changes to make sure that it stays a nice circle. Instead, now there is a great feature called masking. Again, make sure that the image is selected. Go to the image icon all the way to the left, and here in the toolbar at the top, select Mask. Shape, and then we select the first one, which is a circle. And look at that. I don't have to play around with corners. It's immediately set to a circle. You can see there are many others that you also can play around with. But we are very happy with the circle. And I'll put it on fit. And now I'm done with this one. I look at the background image. I think this one is okay. So I'm going to leave that background image. And the same for these. You bring in your own logos for the company you work with, and you're going to change them out exactly the way with the previous images. Select them, go to the image, delete it, bring in your new image. And just with those few clicks, you've made this page very personal. A few more things that we are going to switch out to get our page right. And then after that, we'll look at links. And then finally, we'll start building some things from scratch. And then we'll bring in the image library from a pre-made block. And then we'll build a block slider from scratch, as well as a contact form. Scroll to the top of the page and let's start with this video element. So a video element allows you to bring in a video link so that when people click on it, it will play a video. Select it. And now you can interact with it. Go to the settings all the way to the left, and you will see it set to YouTube. You can also select Vimeo or your own URL. And then the aspect ratio, in most cases, it's 16:9, as well as the link. This one, though, is a little bit different. And that is, if you go to cover here in the tab at the top, you will see that it doesn't display the YouTube thumbnail, but it actually displays a standard thumbnail that the designer had set in here. If I delete it, you will see that YouTube will now load the thumbnail that's originally used. Let's first bring in a link. Let's borrow a few links here for the moment. I'll go to share, and you simply click here on copy to get the link for the YouTube video. Go back to the settings, select video, and then link. Select everything, and then paste it in there, Command V, Control V, and there it goes in. But similar to what the designer had done, I'm also going to use a cover image. So I'll go to cover, select it, and that's an image, of course, and I've already uploaded it here. I'll grab the cover image and then select, and nicely done. Look though here that this play button that we have here has a pink appearance, and we also need to set that to yellow to keep with our identity. Select the color and put it on yellow. There we go. And the icon, we can put it on dark like that. Ah, nice. Next up below this is the countdown element. To find the countdown element, if you want to bring it in manually, you go here to add elements, go down to content, and you will see that countdown is over here, and it's a free element. Click on it to interact with it, and let's go all the way to the left. And what we have to do here is change the date. Now this date format, and for people in the US, please take note of this. It is day first, then month, and then year. It's ascending. So if we are, let's say, next week, and currently we here in March, doesn't really matter when you're going to watch the video. So let's put it first on 2023, and then I will put it on March, which is the 3rd. And then let's add a week from now because we're doing this weekly. So around the 23rd. It's going to be a few days. There you go. So the next free open class for people to come and join is 3 days from now, 19 hours and 19 minutes. Do you need the seconds? That's like pushing it a little too much. So let's go to advanced, And then over here, we can deactivate the seconds. We only have these 3. Looks pretty good. If you want to squash it a little bit, select it and you see you have the handles on the left and the right. I'm going to drag it in just a little bit. There we go. And easily updated, nicely designed from the beginning. However, you do note that if you go to the settings, there's a lot more to do. You even have styles here that you can choose from, and you can play around with that to see what fits for you. I'm happy with this design. Up next are the icons. Icons, Brizy comes with a lot of icons. Click on it, and then all the way to the left to the icon settings, select the icon, and then we look for a new icon, and you see this is font awesome. If you go Brizy Pro, you get a lot of additional icons, so just keep in mind that you are limited to these icons within the free version. Heart, it's going to be a heart. Let's use this one. And then I'll type in there by double-clicking cardio. Next one is going to be muscle, strength. And this one is a little difficult. What is that? A lion? Let's see if we can find dragon. Let's do dragon. And this one we will call strength. And the last one is going to be wellness, something like yoga, calm. Let's see if they have yoga. No yoga. Ocean. All right, so it's very abstract. You can read it in there. And we're going to call this one wellness. And again, here you have control over how this is going to behave. If you go to the icon settings, you will see that you have size settings for it, as well as a background. It can be square, it can be circled in the way it is currently. And at colors, you'll see that you have for the icon, you have the border. So if you want that a different color, and then the shadow. And last, for this one, we are going to talk about this lead generation form where people can give their name and their email address, and you collect this. This is the form builder element, also free. With the Pro version, you get a lot of massive features. But let's have a look at how this one plays out. To get it, if you want to bring it in manually, go to Add Elements, and you will find it under Essentials. We believe it's pretty essential that when you have a website, you do want people to contact you or collect leads, and that's why the form element appears here. Already with this one set up, let's have a look at what's going on here. You have 2 fields here, one for the name and one for the email address, and then this button, which is your submit button. You'll see that you have the bounding box, and then you have options here in the top right-hand corner. Everything here is for the entire container. To work with the fields, though, you have to select any of the fields, and then you see the form settings on the left, and you have all the different fields to which you can set. In the later lesson, we will do this from scratch so that you can get familiar with the form builder. In this case, your name and email address, we are very happy with this. This will be an email address. You see the type is set to email. But what is important is that you will need to set up what's going to happen when people submit this. Select this button, and then from the options, go all the way to the right where you see the little plug. And now you have the option, what is going to happen when somebody submits this. You can see there's a lot. You can have settings for your SMTP, Gmail. You have also integration for mailer distribution lists, as well as reCAPTCHA. But most of these are Pro. Well, for the integrations, they're all Pro. So what you can do is you can go ahead and set up the WordPress part. We'll return to this when we create the contact form from scratch so that you know how it works. Let's close this. And then the very important thing to do before we continue, because we've done a lot in the last few lessons, is to make sure that we save our work. Either you can go to the bottom and click here on Update, or in my case, I'm going to hit Control S, Command S on the keyboard to save it. Let's preview this page on the front end to see how it will look when the visitor comes to my site. From the options toolbar here in the bottom, right next to Update, we have this option here for Preview. Select that. And this is how our page will look for a visitor. It's looking good. We've changed the colors. We've kept the fonts though. We've switched out the images. We've switched out the text. We've changed the icons. And now it looks like this site has been made exactly for our gym, which we are designing it for. Here in the bottom where our footer is, we have these social icons. In the next video, we will link them to the different platforms, and this will also serve as an introduction to linking within Brizy Builder. Adding links to your page is super important. You're going to do it many places and you're going to run into instances where you have text or an image that links to something else, and it's very easily done within Brizy. You can link images, you can link your columns, you can link icons, and you can link text. Here we have these social icons at the bottom, and what we want is to add our link to it. So for example, if we have a Facebook page and they click on it, it will take them to Facebook. Let's work with the YouTube one as an example and select it. Right, so this is the front end. So I'm going to close this one and let's close the YouTube as well. Go back to the builder. Let's do the YouTube one, select it, and you will see this little icon shows us that this is an icon element. To make it a link, we go here to where you see the link feature, select it, and this is where we are going to add the URL. And whether it will open in a new tab, make it no follow, but also note that we have these other two. Block we're going to do in a later lesson. Pop-up is a pro feature, so we'll stick with the URL. What we need to add here for the YouTube is a YouTube link. I just closed the YouTube tab. Let's open it again. I'll go to the Brizy page. I'll select the link and then in link to, paste that there and select open in new tab. Save it, click on Update or Control Command S, go to Preview, scroll to the bottom of the page and let's test it. Click on the link, opens a new tab, and it takes us to the Brizy page within YouTube. And that's how you're going to link anything. Let's say I have a Twitter, Pinterest, I don't, so I'll select it. I'll go ahead and delete, and Facebook I will leave there. So for the Twitter, go to the link, bring in the link to your Twitter account. Same for the Facebook page. Go to the link and link to, and remember to open it in new tab. I did mention of the other things that you can also link if you wanted to. So if we take this section here, let's say you want to link this entire column. Go to the column settings and there you see the link option again. Maybe you only want to link this text. Click on the text, go to link, same option. And if you only want to link a certain part of the text, highlight that part, go to link, and now you will only apply this hyperlink to this part of the text. Same for the image. You see the link appears again there. And finally, also for icons. If I go to the icon, here is the link again. It's time to talk about responsive design, and in this lesson we're going to look at how you are going to design your site so it will also look good on devices such as tablets and mobile phones. Most of these pre-made designs, like this page that we had brought in, should look good also in tablets and mobile, but because we've made changes, there will be some that will look a little bit different. From the sidebar on the left, you have this mobile view, and that you have the option from desktop, tablet, and mobile. Let's just scroll to the top so we can see how this is going to look. When I put it in tablet, it will show me how this page is going to look on a tablet. And so far, it looks pretty good until we get here. This looks a little bit off. Let's just have a look also, and go to the top first, how this will look on a mobile device. Put it on mobile. And again, nicely done. You see now, instead of these columns being adjacent, they are stacked on top of each other, which is good design. This one, a little bit maybe squashed. We can make it a little bit broader. These look good. This looks good. And as we go down, whoa, doesn't look good, right? So we have to make those changes. And that's what responsive design is all about. What's important that once you come into one of these responsive design modes, the controls that you get here will only affect this part of the design. Any changes I make within mobile will not affect tablet, and it will not affect my desktop. This is true responsive design and gives you full manual control over how you want to make it look on these various devices. Best practice is to start with desktop. Currently, I say it's best practice. Let's rather call it standard practice. And from here, we go to tablet. And now when I select the countdown here, you will see I can now drag it, make it wider. If I go back to desktop though, you will see it's still a little boxed in. And that is what the responsive design is. anything that I can make a change to here will not affect the other two designs. I scroll down. Okay, this looks good, but look here. This one has got padding on the left and the right. Left and right, there is some white space. This one doesn't. If I select this column and then look at the settings on the right, you will see I have padding of 5 at the top, 15% on the right, 5 at the bottom, and 15% on the left. If I go to this one and I select it, you will see 0, 0. For some reasons, the 15s disappeared. So I'll add that 15% there. That's for both right and left. And now it looks uniform, similar to the other two. Again, let's go down. Now, for example, here, this paragraph is justified text. I don't like it. I want it flush to the left. I'll click on it, and from the options toolbar here where I have my justification, I'll select it and it goes left. Again, I'll state it again. It's important to remember all these changes I make here will not affect the other two designs, which is desktop and mobile. I go down, this looks good, this looks good, this is fine. Then I get here and things are squashed. This is the block width. So if I go to the block options from the settings here, and I select settings, you will see that the width is reduced to 41%. I'll grab the slider and just drag it up, and immediately it looks better. And there we go. So we've got the tablet looking good. Then next, we select from the sidebar mobile, and we do the same. Let's go and start at the top. Fine. And then we get here again, it doesn't look that great. So I'll click on it, grab the handles and drag it out, much better. Let's scroll down. These are fine. They are fine. And then when we get here, we have to do the same. Go to the block settings, click on the settings, and then increase the width. And this one I'm going to put on 100. It looks good. And that is what responsive design is all about. This is really, though, a nutshell presentation of responsive design. And very soon, when we get to the lessons on how we build it from scratch, you will get hands-on feeling as to how to design with these responsive modes. Talking about doing things by ourselves, let's create an image gallery from a pre-made block and add it to our site in the next lesson. Our page already looks really good, but we want to add a few more things to bling it up a little bit some more. And let's go back to our desktop view. Shortcuts. Let's talk about shortcut keys very quickly again. To switch between responsiveness, you can use shortcut keys on your keyboard. And a tip, go here to the bottom left corner, select the Go to Dashboard. Don't select that, rather select Shortcuts. And this will give you the menu with all the shortcuts that are available that you can use. So what I want you to focus on are these two, or rather this one, Control minus or Control plus, and on the Mac that will be Command minus, Command plus. This will zoom in or out or go up and down within the responsiveness. So if we test it, if I hit Control Command plus on my keyboard, I go to tablet, Control Command plus again, I go to desktop. If I do the minus, it goes the other way around. And when you get to mobile, you can hit Control Command minus again, and it will start again at the desktop. I use the shortcut all the time, so something you can also learn. And then you have to remember that the shortcut keys also have a shortcut, and that is Control question mark, Command question mark. Not that many that you have to memorize, and the more you work with them, the easier it will become. Let's close this out, and now we're going to bring in a new block so we can bring in an image gallery. Yes, we want to really give a feel of what this local gym is all about. So I want to bring in a block. I want to bring in images, just 2 or 3 of them. And I'm going to do that with a pre-made block. In the next 2 videos, we'll build from scratch. But for this one, I want to show you how to bring in a block and how to move it on the page. Scroll all the way to the bottom. And before you click on add a new block, just also note that between blocks, you see a blue line and this plus. These two are exactly the same. They're going to open the block manager for us. But let's go down to the bottom and click on add a new block. Mosey over to the left under categories. Let's look for gallery. And then we have to find a gallery that is free. Yes, there's a few pro ones, but this one here, perfect. But I want a dark one. So this is currently the light version. So I'll select dark and then same one over here. Just click on it and it drops onto the page and we can begin to work our magic. 3 images here and we have 2 columns. I'll select this image. Then I'll go to the toolbar, delete the current one. Then let's upload one from those that I've already brought in. I'll bring in these weights, click select. And grab my focal selector, this blue dot, and just move them to make sure that I get the composition I want here. And if you want to, you can open it in the lightbox, but this is not a gallery or an art exhibition. This is a gym. So I'm just going to leave it like that. And we do the same for these two. And because we've used that pre-made block, look how quickly this goes. Don't have to worry too much about the design. I love it. And I know we often have this desire that we want to do things from scratch, but why reinvent the wheel if this is already great? Also note the nice little rounded corners that are applied here. And that is done by clicking on the image, going to settings, styling, and then in the sidebar, you will see the option here for corners, 6 pixels. So if you didn't want those corners, you wanted straight little corners, then you just drag them all the way to the left for 0. Let's switch out the next one and delete. And the more you do this, the easier it will become. Select the image and select. And in no time, we've created this gallery block for our page. The problem is though, it's now here at the bottom of our page and we clearly don't want it there. We want to add it here between the standout and this section over here. To move the blocks around, we go to the sidebar on the left and we select reorder blocks. And that one that we just brought in there, look how nicely that thumbnail has recreated. So I'm going to drag it up to, no, let's put it there. I think let's try that and see how that looks. Nope. I'm going to drag it then here. Okay, let's do that. Yes. And there it is now. And we moved it ever so nicely into the spot where we want it. Important though then, you haven't checked for responsiveness yet, and it's important that you go and check each and every time. You can go to the sidebar on the left and select tablet or Control-Command- on your keyboard to move to tablet. Go where the images are. And this one is kind of not what I anticipated. So what I'll do is I'll click on the image and I'll grab the handlebar and I'll drag it until I get it as so. And now it looks a little bit better. But I note that there is spacing there at the top. And that is probably padding and margins that are applied. So let's select the column settings. And then the padding at the top, I'll reduce that. Also select the image and then the margin. Let's type in there for the top margin 0. And now it's nicely aligned to that one. Probably have to do the same for the bottom. With that one selected, I'll put the margin on 0. And let's grab it and drag it again. Great. That's why it's important. Doesn't matter if you use a pre-made block, because you bring in images that's a little bit different. You need to go and have a look at how it will display on the other devices. Control-Command-, we go into our mobile display. And here, what I think I want is for this one to be more or less the same height as these two. Click on it, grab the handlebar at the bottom, and I'm just going to gauge it with my eye, like so. Right, and then we have this space here, too much space between these two. So I'll go to the column, click on the image, settings at the bottom, put in 0 for the margin. And then I'll also do the same for this image, but at the top, I'll put in 0 for the margin. And look how nicely, every time I select any of them, it updates here in the sidebar on the right in the responsive view. So you don't have to click style every time. The sidebar is already open because you don't need all of that real estate. And that is probably the quickest you've ever designed an image gallery with 3 images. Good enough for your local gym. The next lesson will introduce you to a block slider, which is a really great feature within Brizy. For my next magic trick, I'm going to take a block and turn it into a block slider. I'll show you soon what that is all about. On our page that we brought in, we have over here a testimonial section. I want to spice this up with a little different design and also then turn it into a block slider. The first thing we will do is to delete this block, and there are two ways we can delete it. We go to the block settings here and you see the trash can in the top right corner, select delete. Alternatively, go to the sidebar, reorder blocks, find the thumbnail of the block that you want to delete, which is this one, and click on the X. Let's do that, and bazinga, it's gone. Now I'm going to bring in a new block. So I'll go there between these two blocks, click on the plus, and we will use a pre-made testimonial. Go to testimonials under categories, and we find a free one. And the one I'm going to use is this one here in the top left corner. We have a number here. I just also want to point out that you will see at the top, it is currently set to kit number 2. We also have the option to put it on kit 1, which is a previous set of pre-made blocks that you can use. And then here also, if we go to testimonials, we're going to have a set. And I believe everything in kit 1 is free. And that's great because I think let's go, shall we do light for this one? Let's do light. And over here, this is the testimonial that I will grab. Very simple. We have an image here of the person giving their little statement. And then we have the statement over here plus their name. Let's first change out the image, and I will delete this one. Bring in one of my, what do you call them? People who give testimonials. And I will do the same I did previously, that instead of using the rounded corners, I'm going to use a mask. Go to the settings, styling, and in the sidebar on the right by the corners, we drag them all the way to the left, make it sharp, go back, select the image, mask, and the one just under none, and we put it on fit to make sure it fits nicely within that container. And I'm done. So what we can do here is style it up a little bit for this site. I'll go to the block settings, overlay, and I'll choose the yellow. And then for our text, I'll select that and I'll put it on the black so it stands out a little bit better. Maybe for the name, we can just put that on gray so it brings in a little bit of variety. Swap out the background with the image you want, but what I'm going to do is I'll use the color at full opacity. So currently it's at 90%. I'll slide it up to 100% and I'll go over to image and also just delete it so it doesn't load that image and takes up extra data. Let's go and make sure it looks good in responsive view. So Control Command minus, it looks good on my tablet, and Control Command minus. And this is pretty nice, actually. What I'll do though is increase the size of this one. Click on it, drag the handles, make it bigger. That looks much better. And then we go back, Control plus to the top. And this divider that we have over here also doesn't make sense now because the yellow kind of shows us it's a divider. Again, you have the two options. You can go to the settings of the block and delete, or you can go to the sidebar under reorder blocks. I'll delete it from here. Now that we've done this, I want to bring in 2 more people and bring in their testimonials. Many times this is done within builders within a slider or something like a carousel, and that can be done in Brizy Pro. But in the free version included is an awesome function called block slider. What we're going to do is turn this entire block into a slider. Go to the settings of the block all the way to the left, and then you will have the option here, make it a slider. Select, and the moment you do that, you're going to see we have these navigation arrows that appears on the left and the right. And then we have the navigation dots at the bottom. And currently there are 2. The one you are viewing is the one that is highlighted or filled like this one. And the next one, if I click on it, will give me the second slide. But we've made a duplicate. So for us at this moment, it looks like exactly the same slide. Select the second dot, select the image, and then we change out the image with our second person to give us a testimonial. I can't think of what we call a person who gives a testimonial. And he looks pretty ruthless and serious, but he's okay. He's going to give us some nice feedback for our website, and we'll change his name to Ruthless Bob, something like that, and you put it in there. To bring in a third slide, you go to the last slide, which is currently selected, block settings, and click on duplicate. And then you see the third dot, select that, and we change it out again. to this guy. And we'll call him Andre Strong with a T. And look how quickly we had created this testimonial slider, which is a block slider. And that's what a block slider is. You can apply this at your hero block at the very top if you have different things that you want to promote. But don't forget this awesome feature of creating these block sliders. The settings for the block slider is accessed now also on the left. Once you have selected, make it a slider. The slider appears here and you have the option for autoplay. That will cycle the slides automatically, which is what we want. Switch that on. 3 seconds for each slide. That's a good one. Do we want the dots? Yes, we want the dots. Do we want the arrows? Why not? So we leave it in. Let's see how it looks on the front end. Remember, Control-Command-S to save the work. And then to preview, I'm going to hit Control-Shift-P, Command-Shift-P, and that will open a new tab in our browser and we can preview it. Love this hotkey. Slide down, slide down, slide down, slide down. And we are already on Ruthless Bob, and then Andre Strong pitches up for us, and then Mary Jane Strode is next. Just take note that these aren't all in uppercase. So if you want that consistency, we have to go and make that uppercase. That's easily done. Hop back to the builder, click on Andre Strong, and then in the toolbar, go here where it says uppercase. Boom, it's done. Let's go to Ruthless Bob. Same procedure over here. Uppercase, miracles, and then Control-Command-S to save your work. Up next, we'll build from scratch a contact form. Every page or every website needs a contact form. And even this is just one page, you need that too. The template that we brought in does have this lead generation area to reserve a spot at our gym, which we can just get somebody to send their email address and their name, and then we can work with them. But I want to have a dedicated contact form section. We're going to build this from scratch. Let's go to the bottom and click on add a new block and then create your own. I'll run this one a little bit faster as you've got some idea of what is going on already. This is how it looks when it's empty. Click on the plus in the middle. It opens the elements panel on the left, and I'll click, hold, and drag the columns element onto this block and drop it. By doing so, it brings in 2 columns by default, and you can add more columns if you want so. By clicking on the plus in the options, you can delete it from here. And you can change the size as well by grabbing the handle in the middle and getting it to a certain ratio, which will work for you. I want it at 50%, so what I'll do is I'll delete column. And yes, you can also only have 1 column, and then I'll go ahead and bring in the second one, and this will put it at 50%. If I do move it and I don't want to go through that whole spiel I just did, all you need to do is go to the settings of the column, click on the configuration at the top where it says width. It's currently at 52.5%, and select it all and type in 50, and now you have 50-50. On the left, I'll bring in a map so that people can find my gym. Click on the plus. Again, it opens our elements drawer for us. And then the map is under Essentials, another essential element. Click, hold, and drag and drop it onto the column, and it brings in the map element. This is a super easy map element to use. Select it all the way to the left, and then type in the address. And I'll just type in, and it will give me the closest gym to my house, probably, I guess. So this one, let's say, is CrossFit Ekerstad, and I'll just leave it there. You can zoom out. I think that's out. Yep. And you can zoom in. I think 15 is a good one here. And you have a few other options, alignment as well as an overlay. I want to leave it exactly like it is. You can also change the size of it. So select it, and you see you have the same sizing handles. Grab the bottom. It does so vertically. The right and left will do and constrain it on the sides. And if you grab the handles in the corners, it will move it within the column. Remember, if you want it to go bigger, wider, you will need to grab the column handle like so and drag it. That's way too much. In fact, let's make it a 40-60. And you see the heads up display there? I am at 4060, perfect, so I'll drop it there. And there I have my map. Wow, so easy. Next, I want to have a contact us section over here. Click the plus, open the elements drawer, and I'll bring in a text element for my heading. Whether it's a heading or paragraph, we always use the text element for that. Select the text and then type in contact us. And then we go to T for typography and we put it on heading 2 because we want to keep all our main sections the same. The moment I put it on heading 2, you see we get the same styling that we have for the other heading 2s because that is all dictated by the global styling over here where we have heading 2. I'll change the color to a darker one. I'll put it second from the left. And then I want to add some space between the map and this one because we need a little bit more separation. I'll do that with padding within the column. Go to the column settings, click on configuration, styling, and then padding. Go to the left. And what I often do is I just switch this pixel to percentage. And that gives me more space. That is way too big though. So let's take it down to 5%. It should be more manageable. Much better. Bring in another text element for a short little message. So go to text, click, hold and drag. And where you see the thick gray lines appear, these are indicators where you can drop the elements. I'll drop it here. Select the text. Reach out today and get to know us. Once you've stopped by, you'll stick with us. Okay, very corny, but that's the way it's going. Whenever you bring in a text element, you will note that if you go to the T for typography, the default is paragraph. If you want to change the text, line height and stuff here, you again go and do that under global styling paragraph. So maybe I feel that 1.9 line height is too much. I'll reduce it to 1.7. By doing that, just remember that wherever you have paragraph settings on your page, it's going to do the same, but it seems like I don't have it. This is the first place that I've used the paragraph, so it's only going to affect this one. For a little bit of a design flair, let's bring in a line element. Click on the plus in the top left corner, and the line is also an essential element. Here's the line. Click, hold and drag, and I'll drop it between these two. Again, where the thick gray lines are, that's where you can drop the elements. Drop it. Click on it to interact with it, and I'll align it by using the alignment option to the left. Go to the settings, and the width is in percentage, and I'll put it around 10%. You can type it in as well. Then we select the color. I'll put it on dark. Just note that the opacity slider is at 75%. Let's take it all the way to 100% so it's nice and dark. And then I'll go to the line settings, and the height is the thickness of that line. So I'm going to increase it. And then too much space between these two. What I'll do is I'll go to the settings of the line, styling, and to move an element, we use margins. So I want to move it closer to the contact us. Currently, it's 10 pixels more away from it. So I'll reduce this, and I'm going to put it at -10. Let's just make that -10. And there we go. Next up is to bring in the contact form. Previously, when we looked at this, I promised we will look at the contact form and how it works. Let's do that now. Again, an essential element. Go to Add Elements, Form, click, hold and drag, and we drop it under our little text area here. This is how it comes in my default. The email, a select option, and paragraph with a send button. Click within the email and go all the way to the left, and you will see it's set to type. This is an email type. Let's say we rather would prefer people first give their name, which is text. Select the type and select text. And to change this label, you just double click to select it and say your name. Very easy on screen. No need to go into all kinds of settings. You just do it right within the builder. I want to bring in an email field now. Yes, now I want an email field. To bring in another field, make sure you are within a field and selected it. Then go to the options toolbar and click on duplicate. Now you see it's duplicated to your name 1. Select your name 1. Go to the field options, and this time we make it an email. And then select the text again, email address, Let's go to the select option. Now, this is where you have different options you want people to select. Maybe you have a form that people want to fill in and they have to select the time that they want to meet with you or a menu, whatever. That's going to be great for it, but we don't need this option here. So I'm going to delete it. Simply click delete. And the last one is a paragraph. So if I click on it, go to the options, you will see the type is set to paragraph. Also note that you have these options that these fields are required before it can be sent. Definitely. Let's just make sure the others are also activated. Yes. And yes. Go back to paragraph and change it. Type your message here. And now we've created the field. The styling is very similar to what we've done already throughout. Select the colors and you will see we have background, we have text, we have borders, we have shadows, and we also have the option for the default as well as for hover. I'm going to keep it very simple here by not playing too much around with the colors or even the text. What I will do is go to border, and once I've selected border, note here in the bottom right hand corner, the size of the border is at 1, and this little icon indicates to us that the borders 1, 2, 3, 4 are linked. I'll select it, and now they are delinked from left to right. And keeping with CSS form, on the left starts at the top, right, bottom, and left. Let's link it again. You see it's linked. And then I'm going to select the size and type in 0. You will see that the borders will disappear. Now when I unlink them, they're all 0, but I will go to the bottom border. So top, right, bottom, and here I will type in 1. And now we have just that one line. So if I click outside, just that one line under the field. I like this kind of minimalistic approach. Yeah, I know. Last but not least is this button here, which is our send button. Select the text by simply clicking on it and selecting it and type in send. And then we go to the settings on the left. We can make the button small. We can make it larger, medium. I like it medium. Fill corners. You can play around with it. And the icon, which is currently this arrow, you can also switch that out. Arrow is good for me. And you can also put the arrow on the left and the right and choose how much space here with the spacing is between the text and the icon. Between 10 to 20, good one to go with. Before we look at what happens when somebody clicks send, let's go to the settings, select it, and here where it is on width, I'm going to reduce it to 30, around 30 or 40%. Make the button smaller. That's okay. And then the alignment, put it on the right. Very standard to what you've seen on many contact forms. And thus we've created a contact form. Click back on send and then click all the way to the right where we configure what happens when people actually have filled in their details and they select send. Previously, we've looked at it and you know that most of these features are pro. The integration with distribution lists like MailChimp, MailerLite, and Zapier, Mailjet, etc. These are all pro. But you can set up WordPress. And this will allow that when somebody fills out the form on your site, that it will be sent to your email. Here is the email to, and this is to whom this email will go once the people press send. And that is going to be me or you. And if you have more than one person, you just put in a comma and you type in the second address. I can say here from the subject message from website, local gym. Click on continue and that's it. Now you're done. Control S, Command S to save the page and then preview, Control Shift P. And we go fill in that form and find out where did that information go. I'll scroll to the bottom where our contact form is. And then my name is Blandy McGregor. And email address is mcgregor.blandy@email.net. I want to join your boxing class. Where can I sign up? Where can I sign up? And then click send. And you'll get a notification. Your email was sent successfully. Congratulations. You will get an email now that says this is the message. But let's also go back to the builder. Make sure our work is saved, and you will see it's not highlighted, so it's saved, and exit. So we click here in the bottom left corner, go to dashboard. Then click here on the WordPress top left-hand corner. And then in the navigation sidebar on the left where you see Brizy, go and select leads. And there is your lead generated as well. Easy to keep track of the leads and the messages that have come in. You'll also note at the top you have export to CSV, so selected, and then you can export so you can also bring this into Excel. And that is how simple the form is. Great. And I cannot underscore enough how important the form actually is on your page. Let's just make these things fit a little bit better. So we go back to our pages, home, click on edit with Brizy. I'll scroll to the bottom and I just want to go to the block and make the background white. Make sure it's on white. And then for this map, you will see we added more fields here. So the column has grown. What I want to do is also grow the map here actually like so. I'm going to drag it up. And now it's again not balanced. It's off balance. This is all the way to the top. To settle that score, we go to this column settings. And then content, I'm going to place it in the middle. Looking fine. Control Command S. And now we have to look at how this will display on tablets and mobile. So Control minus, Command minus. Yeah, this looks a little bit weird. We have to agree on that. And I'm going to rock your world by showing you what you can do with columns in tablet and mobile. When you go to tablet, it's going to try and stick as much to the desktop version. But if you go to mobile, you will see it will stack these two automatically because that's just better designed for mobile. Let's go back to tablet and I'm going to stack them here as well. To do that, go to the first column, grab the handlebar and drag it all the way to the right. And you can just drag it all the way to the right, or you can go to the settings and put it on 100% if it's not on 100% as well. Do the same with this one. Grab it all the way to the right until you get to 100%. Let's just see, I think I did more than 100. Oh, 100, that's good. But this is a little bit weird to have the map at the top and then the contact us section at the bottom. Switch the order of the columns by selecting any settings of the columns and use these two arrows when you are in responsive design and it will switch the order of the columns. This is a little too wide, so I'll add some padding. Padding is here on the left. I will link it and then let's put it on around 35 pixels all the way around. Give a little bit more structure. That looks good. Map is too big, so I'll click on the map, grab the bottom and drag it up and make it, yeah, that looks much better. And there we've quickly made it responsive for tablets. Let's do the same for the mobile. We're going to reverse the orders of the columns first. So go to the columns, click on reverse, and then we'll add some padding for this one. Over here, let's link them. This time I'm just going to add in 15 pixels all around. And same thing for the map. Select the map and decrease it. Lovely. Go back to desktop, save your work, Control Command S. When you have a look at what we've done here, we are basically finished. There's a few more things that we're going to do to clean up the page and make sure that our site looks good. And we'll have a discussion a little bit more about the elements that we haven't touched on so far yet. In the next lesson, let's talk about block links or anchor links and how you can easily create these jump links within a page. In this lesson, we're going to see how we can link a block so that you can create, well, quote unquote, a jump link on your page. But I think before we do that, something a little bit off with this page. It doesn't logically make sense. We have this area here to collect a lead, and then we have a contact form just under that. To rearrange any blocks, you remember we go to reorder blocks on the left. I'm just going to drag them around so it makes a little bit more logical sense. Let's put this one there, we put this one there, and take up. Now it should make more sense. Everything is still groovy. Here at the top, we have this button, Grow Your Business. And the intention of placing this button here is that when people click on it, it will scroll down and it will take them to the contact us, or it could take them to reserve your spot. Before we do anything, let's change the text to join a class for free. And then it will link, or when people click on it, it will scroll automatically to reserve your spot. To do that is the easiest thing on earth. Click on the button and you will know that we have the link option here. Select it, and then next to URL, go to block. You'll see the familiar thumbnails being generated, and just scroll down to where we have that form to collect the leads. Select it, and that's it. Once you see that blue block around it, you have now selected it. Click outside, update your page, Control-Command-S. We preview it, and as usual, I'll say that shortcut again, Control-Shift-P, Command-Shift-P, opens a new tab in our browser. And now when I select it, it scrolls, and there we go, to reserve your spot. Now that we know how to do that, let's create that menu in the next video. In this lesson, we are going to create a menu for our one page or our landing page, however you want to use it. Let's have a look at what we've got here. We won't link anything here, but here we can have like services. Let's call that services. And then here about, and then reserve a spot or contact us. Let's keep it simple and we keep it at 3. So contact us, we want it to link to this section. And then we want it to link to an about section. And then over here, features, services. That's what we're going to do. Similar to the link that we've created here, we are going to make those links so that it can link to the blocks. And that we're going to do by accessing the block advanced settings. So click on the settings, go to configure, styling, and then you will see under styling, we have basic and advanced. Now, strictly speaking, this is not styling, it's more options. And there you will see the block name. There's also a little help bubble. Add your custom block name, example, my block. This I will call services. I'll keep it in lowercase, no hashtag, nothing, just that. Click outside and then we go here to about us and then same thing. Go to styling, advanced, and I'll just type in here about, and then finally contact us. This one here. And over here, styling, advanced, and contact. Let's save that before we do anything else. Control-Command-S. And then we have to exit into WordPress and go and create a menu for those custom links that we will be creating. Bottom left-hand corner and click on Go to Dashboard. Select a W for WordPress. And then in the navigation sidebar, Appearance, and we select Menus. Create a new menu, call it Main Menu. And I'll select first Create Menu. And if you were using the Blocksy theme, you will check here where you want to assign it. But we're going to be using this as a menu within an element within the Brizy Builder. So I don't have to select anything here. Go to Custom Links and we create our first custom link. Select and hashtag. This was services and we will call it services. Add to menu. Next one is hashtag about. And we'll call this about us. Add to menu. And then the last one was hashtag contact. And we'll call this one contact us. Click on add to menu. Then save here. Very important. Very easy to forget these save functions in WordPress. We go back to our pages and then click on edit with Brizy. At the top, we have these two columns already. And this one, we've put the logo. And in this one, you will see there is a little bar with a box. And that bar is actually a spacer. It's actually an element. But now we're going to bring in the menu element in this column. Go to Add Elements. And the menu element is so important that it appears under Essentials. Click, hold, and drag. And I'll put it at the top. So make sure that it's in the right side on. So it falls within the column at the top. There we go. And I'll drop it and it's going to think a little bit. And because it can find a menu that I've already created, you will see it populates there. Or in fact, you don't see it because the colors make it very difficult to see. But we're going to sort that now. Select it. Let's go to the color first. And we have three options here. The default, what you see. Active, once the one you're at that moment, which doesn't really matter for this. It's a one pager. And then also hover. I think this one is hover. And this one, yes, is active. So let's start at the very beginning. Let's make them all white. And then hover, I'm also going to make that yellow. And then also for the active one, also yellow. It really doesn't matter because once you start, it's going to jump to the rest of the page. Nothing special about that. It really doesn't matter what color these two are because you're not working with multi-pages. Now you've set up the colors. Let's align it to the right and go all the way to the left. Here is spacing and we add more space. If you have more than one menu, you can select it from here. But remember, we've only created that one main menu. You can change out the typography. We have to put it on Montserrat. And then we are done. Let's go and test it. Click Update or Control Command S. Preview it. And what we expect to see is this one. When I click on Services, it goes to Services. And this one, About Us, will go to About Us. And unfortunately, these are very, very hard jumps. We can soften that from here. I'll just go to WordPress. And what we can do is go to our plugins and we bring in a little plugin for that. Add new. And I believe this one is called ID Scroll. There's so many of them on the market, but I think this is the one I usually use when I quickly have to have a nice little smooth scroll. Yes, page scroll to ID. I'm going to install it. I'm going to activate it. And that's about as much as what I'm going to do. Go to the front. And now when I click on services, yay, smooth scrolling. And that's how you can create these links to the different sections on your page and put a menu element at the very top. Let's talk a bit then about the rest of the elements that we've not covered. In the next video, we'll talk about the two grid elements. And then in the following video after that, we'll talk about all the essential elements. In this lesson, we're going to have a look at the row element and the columns element, which helps you to create structure on your page. Now, we've looked at the columns and you've seen it many places. It's these blue border boxes, but you also have the row element that gives you more flexibility if you want to group more of your columns and elements together. Let's create a new block, add a new block, and we select create your own. And then from here, click on add elements and we bring in the columns first. In most cases, you're going to get away with columns. It may just be a personal preference or even a practical preference, whether you're going to use a row or a column. We've also seen how you can add more columns. And if you already have content inside a column, let's bring in a text here, we bring in an icon below that, and we bring in an image below that, and you want to duplicate this entire column, simply go to the options and select duplicate. Deleting it is easy. Go to the column, select delete, or you can right click, which also will give you a contextual menu and select delete. And this way you get a lot of flexibility in terms of what you can do with columns. And this is how you build out your structure. But wait, there's more. Bring in columns and drop it inside any of these columns. And you'll observe that we can create columns within columns. And the same rules apply. You can add more, you can duplicate them, and you can also move these columns around. Now that we've got this one, let's bring in an icon so we can distinguish it from the other two. So I'll put 2 there. Go to the column, click, hold and drag. And now you will see wherever you see a thick blue line across your page is where you can drop this column. So I'll drop it here in the middle. The other option is to go to the options and you have these arrows to move it to the left or go ahead and move it to the right. The row element works very similar. Let's grab the row element and drop it below the columns. And of course, you can put a row within a column as well. Again, you see 2 columns, but you'll note that we have now a bounding box around these. That's very useful if you're putting many columns inside this row, and then later you want to duplicate this to use somewhere else on the page, and you don't have to duplicate all the columns. You just simply go ahead and duplicate the row. The settings here, very similar to everywhere else. You have background, you have color, you can link the entire row. And then under settings, you can also constrain the content within that. So if you need a little bit more padding on the left and the right, that's what you can do with the row. Set the height over here, custom, very similar to what you can do with columns. So when you are designing your site and you're working on a wireframe, take these two elements into consideration. That will give you great flexibility in terms of layout. Now that you know the grid elements, let's have a look at the essential elements in the next video. In this video, we're going to look at the essential elements and just briefly discuss what each one can do for you. Right, so we've created this circus over here. Let's stick to it so we can just bring in the elements, go to add elements, and have a look at the 12 essential elements that appear here. The one that you're going to work with basically all the time is the text element. Next to that, very important image, and I can almost guarantee you're going to use the button on your page as well. The icon, yep, I can see quite a number of places you're going to use it. But in the free version, you'll find that the icons are actually quite limited and you may not always get the icon you are looking for. Better to try Pro, or if that doesn't work, bring in your own PNG and SVGs and use it as images. This spacer is my go-to favorite, one that I use all the time, and the map is going to be very handy when you create contact forms. Talking about forms, here we go. And then the line is a design element that I use all the time, and the menu. Now, this may confuse you. There is menu again, but this is a pro menu that also allows you to make mega menus and really cool features. Login element that is used in conjunction with membership feature, again a pro feature, and then the search element connecting to WordPress that you can search your site. And that is the essential elements which contributes to 90% of any website building out there. All of these elements work more or less the same. Let's bring in a text element, bring it onto the page, click, hold and drag. And wherever you see a thick gray line appear, that is where you can drop it. So I can drop it as a standalone, don't have to put it inside a column, like so. Or I can bring it in, drop it inside a column. And I can bring it in, put it inside a column that's within a column. Interact with an element by clicking on it, and it opens the options toolbar. You've seen that this is contextual, so it will differ. Whether you use an icon or an image, it will change, but a few things remain the same. The delete here on the right, duplicate, and your configuration or your settings, and then many of them, like the text, image, and icons, also have a link option. From here on, it depends on which element you've brought in. Select configure, and this will give you also additional options for that specific element, but it will always give you these two features, styling and effects. Both of them opens the same sidebar, but the styling will give you padding, which is space inside that container, and margin, which is kind of space outside the container, as well as the position on the page, and in some cases blending modes. We've also seen that next to that is advanced, where you can set things like the Z index, and when working with a block, you can give the anchor name for the block there. For those people who are so inclined, you can use CSS over here as well. Effects, let's have a quick look at effects, but let's not use this text element. Let's scroll to the top and use something that's more effect driven. Let's go to these icons and we select the column. Settings, effects, and we can make it a fade. And then we go to the next column, settings, effect, make a fade, but you'll see we have the options here. So I'm going to make this delay a little bit longer. And I'm going to say, let's move it up so it fades up like so. And then we go to the last one and we say effects, and I'll choose fade again. This delay is going to be even a little bit longer, and it will come from the right. Let's see. Yes. Let's see how those effects will translate to the front. We'll update the page and go preview it. Scroll down and the effects come in like so. And this can be applied on a column basis or an element basis. Once you've placed an element on the page, you are not locked in. You can move it around after you have placed it. If I want to drag this icon to a different location, click and hold it and now drag and it becomes movable. And again, you see the thick gray line and you can drop it wherever you want it to go. Let's click and hold this one and we drag that over there. In the previous lesson, you also saw that you have the right-click context menu. Hover over any of the elements, right-click, and you have options like copy, duplicate, delete, and you can also in certain cases copy the style like colors and settings and then paste it on another one. What is never to be forgotten is the responsiveness that elements have. If we go to tablet design, you will find that you have a reduced toolbar, but these options allow you to make changes to that element within tablet without affecting the design on your desktop and your mobile, and the same for the mobile. When you are in these responsive designs, the sidebar on the right is open because we have this extra real estate, so you don't need to go into settings to get that open. It will remain open. Let's go back to our desktop. The remainder of these elements are grouped under content, often giving you extra features or layout options like carousel, tabs, accordions, switchers, tables, and timelines. And most of these are locked within Pro. You have social, displaying Facebook, Twitter, and comments, and then single, and this will relate to your single pages and your posts. And then working in WordPress, you also have one for your sidebar and shortcodes. All the elements you need to build out an amazing, modern, professional web page and a website. As this stands, it brings us to the end of this tutorial, but I think seeing that this is WordPress, I would like to do one more thing, and at least that is bring in a favicon, so I can do that at the top. We can do that in the next video and talk a little bit more about the free versus pro if you are considering going pro. We've just scratched the surface and there's so much more that we can do, but that's all for another day and another course. Let's talk about free versus pro. And you saw we did quite a lot with free. And again, adding to my previous comment, there's so much more that we can do with free as well. Looking at pro, you can visit brizy.io and you will see up here it says products. Go to Brizy WordPress and go to Brizy WordPress overview. And have a look at what you get in terms of what WordPress, the Brizy Free, can do for you. I'm going to scroll here to the bottom and just show you where we can have a look at the plans and features, the differences between them. So you have these options between free, personal, freelancer, and agency subscriptions. And then comparing them, you will see that with the free, look at all these functions that come with them. And of course, the ones that are missing is with the reduced builder elements. And then from here, this is where we get pro design templates. If you're going to be creating a lot of sites, maybe for clients, friends, family, clubs, whatever, or you need some ideas as well, these design templates are awesome. We've worked with a free one in this course, but the pro ones really bring in a lot of zing. And that is a very big feature for many people just to consider pro. You have more vector icons, 4,000 plus to choose from. Display conditions, which I love. This is really great if you have certain things that you want to appear on some pages, but not on other pages. You have Fonts Manager, where you can upload custom fonts. And my favorite, it's probably one of the reasons I'll always go pro, is the pop-up builder. Really cool feature. Then you have a theme builder. So instead of using the header and the footer of the theme, you make it your own, take full control, and then dynamic content, custom fields integration, the mega menu I mentioned earlier, marketing integrations like MailChimp, MailJet, etc., and a lot of extra support that you get from the Brizy team, as well as a WooCommerce builder, membership functionality, very cool feature, including role managers, And then for those who do need that, WordPress multi-site, and then moving to freelancer and agency, which are two different plans if you need to, is VIP support and white label for those people who do need it. These are the amount of sites that you can build with them. So on a personal, you can only build one site. But really, if you're just making one for yourself, you really don't need more. You don't need white label. You don't need all the other bling. You just need this one site. But if you're creating a few more, then the freelancer, good option. If you really want to go big, you go agency. So stop by Brizy.io, have a look at this, and go through the other courses that we have that will show you all these features and much, much more when you are building your website and your web pages with Brizy. And thus we come to the end. Let's tidy up things a little bit. Exit, go to the bottom left and select go to dashboard. And from here, we will go into the theme customizer to bring in a favicon for our site. I'll select WordPress here. And then appearance, go to customize. And depending on the theme you are using, you'll have different places. For blocks, you scroll down to site identity, select site icon. And this is the dumbbell that I'll be using. Select that. Crop, yes, crop it. And publish. And immediately you can see it appears already there at the top. Let's close out and go have a look at the front end, make sure. Yeah, nicely done. And there is our page. We've only scratched the surface with what you can do with the free version, not even to mention the pro version. So make sure that you look out for the other tutorials that will give you all the ins and outs and everything you need to know about how you can build all your awesome websites with Brizy, using the free as well as the pro one. And that brings us to the end of this course. Hope you've learned something. Hope it's given you some insight as to what you can do, and that this can inspire you to start creating your websites and even maybe start a business from it. From myself then, JP, go well, and I'll see you in the next course.